Hey everybody, Matt Siltala here alongside my co-host Dave Rohr. I'm with Avalanche Media. Dave is with Northside Metrics, and we are coming to you with another one of these amazing business of digital podcasts. And so one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, and it just so happens that we are recording this on 9/11. Of course, it's a day that I'm pretty sure that almost every one of us that's of age remembers exactly where they were and what they were doing. And it's definitely more of a patriotic day and a day for remembering, if you will. I just think back to I was recently in New York in October with my son, and he was 10 years old at the time, and just talking to him about like what happened, and we were at the memorial, and he was, of course, excited to go up the Freedom Tower, which is awesome. If you haven't been there, go there, check it out. And but it was a really somber experience at the memorial where you see the towers used to be. And so it's not anything that, and again, I don't know if it's just younger people, or, forgetting the severity of that. I don't know what it is, Dave, but one of the things that, we wanted to talk about was just some of the stupid things that people do and call as marketing or advertising on days like this, and things that you shouldn't do. In fact, what got us to do this topic today on this podcast was just something stupid that you saw, Dave. And so maybe you could start us off and just kind of share with us what you saw, and we'll go from there.
Yep, and I will take a screenshot just in case they take it down. I should probably do that in a little bit. Yeah, I just happened to see it today in a group, and I'm sure they didn't mean ill will, and that's part of it is I'm hoping that they had just scheduled some stuff out for a couple days, couple weeks, and just when they were scheduling it, like, yeah, Monday, this, on Mondays we're going to do this, on Thursdays we're going to do this, and I'm really hoping that's what happened. I honestly, that's what I hope every time I see that type of stuff. I'm like, I really hope that they didn't, or maybe they just didn't click with them when they were scheduling it last week that the following Monday was 9/11. It's just, next Monday, I need some content, we're going to put a picture of Times Square with a plane over it.
Good.
Yeah.
Not very brilliant. Not on 9/11.
No. They're getting really good engagement too, except that most of the people are saying unsubscribe or yelling at them.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's the kind of engagement that they want.
No. And I'm honestly going to be surprised if it stays up beyond this morning.
Yeah.
But, our good friend Melissa, I know she's done sessions and talked about it before. And I'll link to some of her past kind of decks I think she's done it at PubCon a couple times. Simon Hesseltine, who has done a bunch of sessions about that kind of topic.
And Scott Stratton too, our friend.
Yeah,
he's all over this kind of stuff all the time. In fact,
Mr. Unmarketing himself.
Yes.
I have not seen one of his keynotes, but I'm sure he talks about them in his keynotes and his stuff.
Yeah, and he does make reference to just people doing stupid things in marketing in general. But one of and again, just why I wanted to talk about it. And why I thought it would make a good podcast recording today was because, it's like it's just one of those things I just don't understand why people thought it might be a good idea. And again, it goes back to kind of some of the stuff that you were saying with, let's give them, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I hope this or that, but oftentimes, we find out that that's not the case. But and again, I'm not going to turn this into a I hate automation type stuff, because I don't, and I think that there's a place for it. But I think especially when things that are going on, like, we've just had 2 back-to-back Cat 4s, like the first time in forever. I don't even know the stats, but I've just been watching the Weather Channel, the hurricanes, Harvey and then Irma, that have just hit. And we have friends that are affected in both places. And I think about that, and I think about poor timing in marketing, and some of the people that some things I saw about Hurricane of a Cell, and that's just, it's tasteless and it's horrible, and especially planes flying over New York City and advertising on 9/11 is not the smartest thing to do.
And I saw something last week or 2 weeks ago. It was a graphic display, and again, I don't think they timed it that way, but it was from the company Kayak, and it was like, their branding and about, cheap trips to Houston. Like, oh no, now,
Oh man.
Like anytime, if you have automation or if you do planning ahead, anytime we've talked about content, or if you've ever been to a session, I hope that, anytime you're reading something, they talk about having a content calendar, but also being flexible.
Right.
That's part of why you want to plan ahead and why you want to automate as much as you can, so that, when things come up, when storms come up, when atrocities and, all sorts of different, there's forest fires right now in different places. Take a look. If you're a regional brand, check the news every day, at least once a week, every day, and say, is there something going on? What kind of visuals do I have? What kind of display ads do I have? What do I have scheduled to go out on Twitter? What do I have scheduled to go out on Facebook? Because most of the time, that is the stuff that'll go out. And if, something is going on in the world, you might want to know about it because it could impact you. And you had not, again, I'm assuming some of these people do it, but like you said, there's people that do these, hurricane of a sale type things, which is just, they're trying to newsjack something that you should not be newsjacking. And we can have an entire kind of call about, or another entire podcast about what newsjacking is and how you can do it and when you should do it. And this is one of those times where you should be not doing it.
Well, let's talk about, since we're talking about this, let's talk about, these companies that just feel like they have to do something, or, like, what should they be doing on a day like this? Is there anything that they can be doing? Is there anything, should they just step away from marketing for a day? Should they, should they try to contribute in a better way where they're, bringing light to certain causes or charities or things that might help these groups? Or I don't know, like, what are your thoughts on that? Should they just stay away from marketing completely on a day like today? Or when tragedies are going on, should you just step away? Or what are your thoughts there?
I think it depends. I've seen a lot of companies promoting stuff, but what they've been promoting is saying, if you buy, all sales today, a portion are going to go towards, Houston in the recent weeks. And they're not promoting them. They're promoting, we normally wouldn't be doing anything right now, but what we're going to say is if you were going to buy something today, we're going to give 10%, or we're going to give a portion, or we're going to, if you buy a pair of shoes, we're going to give, X down there. Some people would probably say that's bad, but I think that if you're going to do something, that's kind of the best way, is to try to figure out a way to integrate helping people rather than trying to piggyback on it for your own personal gain and your own personal gain only.
So what are your thoughts on this one? One I saw today talking about, and again, it's, I think that it could depend on your perspective, but I saw there was a roofing company that was saying, hey, we were good with insurance. You got a leaky roof from all the rain in these certain areas. And again, it's what I'm thinking. Okay, so let's say that you went through one of these and you have a leaky roof. You're probably going to start looking up roof repair people. So it's something that you're going to need. I mean, I'm kind of okay with that type of marketing as long as it's not, these guys are just trying to get the word out that, hey, we're here. We're going to work with your insurance. We're here to help. And they're not trying to do anything tacky like, flying a plane over Times Square on 9/11. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm going to say there's a fine line. I don't know what you guys have done, what you do with some of your clients, if you've, seen that kind of stuff. None of my clients that I tend to work with are that quick to jump on stuff. for better or worse. They don't try to newsjack a lot of stuff. They don't try to, jump into what the news cycle. But, there's got to be some point where, and some of our friends, we're seeing all sorts of stuff, all the devastation down in Florida from this last week or from this last weekend. How many trees and how many stuff's been knocked down. There's all these different services that people are going to need.
Yeah.
So I think you have to walk the line of, if you're not sure, ask a couple people and say, hey, this is what I was thinking of doing. This is what our normal marketing looks like. We're not really changing it, but we might, emphasize, roof repair, or like you said, we emphasize insurance. What else do you think they can do? I don't know. I'm just trying to try to figure out how people could walk that line.
Well, I was thinking some of the most useful posts that I've seen, and again, these have come from individuals, so I'm not sure how authentic or how it would look coming from a business, but maybe if it fits, like an insurance one, showing you all the different areas where you can go and get start your claims process, or where you can start, the whole process of rebuilding. I don't know, but some of the most useful ones that I've seen have been, where you can donate and some of the causes that are real and legit, and some of the real needs that people have. And because we're all, again, I'm kind of sheltered in Arizona from a lot of natural disasters. We're just like freaking hell hot, but we don't have hurricanes and earthquakes and tornadoes. And so like kind of sitting over here sheltered a little bit thinking, what can I do? I'm feeling super lucky, obviously, that we don't have to go through some of those things, but at the same time, I'm kind of feeling helpless. Like, what can I do? I mean, you can donate money, but it's like sometimes, you worry about where that money goes and is it going to the right places? And so whenever I come across those type of posts or people sharing that information and saying, hey, this is 87 cents of your dollar is going to go directly to someone that's in need, or here's where you can get this process started. Like I was looking at our friend Melissa, in her front yard or backyard. I can't even tell what it was. Just trees everywhere. Like she's going to need tree removal. And so like, where do you go about that? Like, how can you, is it okay for one of those groups to start getting on there and being like, hey, we're here to help? Maybe, I guess it's all about how they approach it rather than, you're 50% off hurricane sale, for tree removal versus, a lot more tactful ways that they can go about it.
Yeah, and I think if you're a local business in that area or just outside of that area, I think you mentioned it, but I think look at what resources are available and try to promote those, or try to promote, helpful information more than anything that's timely, and, dig through all of the people saying stuff on Facebook and Twitter and all the news stories and stuff. But if you hear something that you think some of the people might realize or can help, or if you have a small business and, the story that came out of the one guy that owns a couple furniture stores down in Houston, where they basically put out on Facebook and they put out other places, they're like, hey, we have lots of furniture. We're not in the flood zone right now. Come use this as a shelter.
Yeah. Well,
and they open their place up.
You just said something that totally made me think about the whole flip side of this. So like I heard Royal Caribbean had a cruise liner that was off some port somewhere, and it was, the people were sharing it on Facebook saying, hey, they said come and use this as a shelter, or come here if you have a need, or whatever. And I was thinking, okay, well, I haven't seen anything from Royal Caribbean or any of them like promoting that or putting it out there or doing anything saying, hey, we're going to do this for you. That's good PR. You get something like out, you do something like that where you're genuine in trying to help people, then the word from the people, so to speak, the users, Facebook, for example, they're going to get the good word out and be the good PR for you. And you're going to be remembered for that. And so, that's another way to look at it. You do something awesome, people are going to remember that and mention you and talk about it in presentations or news stories for months, weeks to come.
And the fact that I hope they're doing it for the right reason, because it's the good thing to do, and not because of, for PR.
Well, yeah, but of course, but that was my point.
Yeah.
One of the benefits or the upsides of that, if you're doing it, if you're being genuine, you could get that good PR. So, but yeah, definitely needs to be genuine. So, but sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just thinking, I was just trying to think of other examples of other ways. I think no matter what you do, it's a fine line. But I think if you're trying to genuinely be helpful, and you're not trying to take advantage of it, I think it'll always be a fine line.
Well, and I think that there's a difference between, the fine line and then that obvious stupidness, like what we saw with that, the 9/11 and jet over Times Square. It's like one that I saw Scott Stratton share, our unmarketing friend. Someone had sent to him on Martin Luther King Day, 50% off all black items or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
And so, yeah, it's like, that's just stupidity at its finest. I mean, anyway, so again, I think if you're trying to be genuine and you're really trying to help, I mean, obviously, everybody, you're not going to survive as a business if you're just giving everything away. You have to make money, and you have to, find that line that we keep talking about, and people understand that, but people also understand a tactful way of going about it versus just blatant stupidity. Thoughts?
Yep. And this, some of what we're talking about, we kind of started talking about, the automated stuff, and this is more of the planned stuff. I think anytime there's a big kind of weather event or tragedy, in whatever country or wherever you're at, and even outside of your area, always kind of keep an idea, what your content calendar looks like across everywhere, and kind of check on it every so often to make sure that you're not, without knowledge, stepping across that, that line. And then anytime you're doing a sale, like the example you just used for Martin Luther. Oh my gosh, it's a Monday.
It's Monday, folks.
Martin Luther King's, birthday, or something like, any type of day like that. Oh my gosh, don't be stupid. And if you are unsure, have a couple people that you trust and say, hey, I was thinking of this idea for this upcoming holiday. Do you, pick this apart as much as you possibly can so I can think of worst case scenario.
Oh,
what did I miss?
And that reminded me of one more, and I wish I would have screenshot it first. I'm sure someone did, but it was more local here. And something that we haven't even mentioned much of is the tragedy that happened in Mexico City. I think the death toll from that earthquake is up to 90 or almost 100 people, which is horrible. And I don't, so as bad as like the hurricanes have been and the power outage, I don't know how many people have died, but I don't think it's nearly close to the death toll like, that they've had with that earthquake. But I saw someone local here talking about, in memory, or I don't even remember how they put it, but something about, Taco Tuesday on the day that it was. And I'm like, okay, no. Oh, and I think that they were lambasted, and that's why they removed it really quickly. But that's just think about stuff like that. Think about before you. One of our mutual friend Dave Snyder, he has on his Skype, think before you write, or think before you type, actually, something like that. But it's true, think about your words, think about what you're saying, think about the message that it's sending. And, even if you think, and you're thinking to yourself, well, this might get some backlash, but it'll still be some good PR. Just don't. Just don't. Anyway, I don't know. Those are my final thoughts. What are your final thoughts on this subject, Dave?
Yeah. Have people to see if you're missing anything that to make sure it's not a stupid thought going out. Cause maybe you're like, oh, this is funny. And when 2 out of 3 people, and pick people that don't have your same sense of humor, perhaps.
Good idea.
Pick people that don't think like you do, and they'd be like, what, are you stupid? Are you crazy? Did you not think about this? And you'd be like, oh, yeah, perhaps that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And then keep an eye on news events and keep a grasp or an understanding, an eye to what you are posting to make sure that, your ads, if you're doing display ads, if you're doing, anything print, if you're doing anything type of marketing and it's planned out in weeks or months in advance, are you crossing that line without realizing it?
All right. Very, very good tips. I mean, again, just high level, summarizing what we've talked about. Just think before you post, pay attention to your scheduled posts, pay attention to what's going on in the world. And, most importantly, just don't be stupid. Like that's again, just please don't be stupid. Don't do the stupid kind of stuff that we talked about today. And I think that you'll be all right. And you know what? Anyone that's listening to this, Dave and I would be more than happy to be the ones to tell you if you're doing something stupid or not.
Well, and actually, I just saw this as a comment to that one post that I was talking about. And it was actually a company that said, in observance of 9/11, this and all of our social media handles will be silent tomorrow. We will resume sharing on September 12th.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, that's another way to do it, is to, just not post and not try to be part of that conversation unless you're contributing. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it.
Very, very true. And great words of wisdom in general.
Yes.
All right. Well, for Dave Rohr, I'm Matt Soltala, signing off on another one of these awesome Business of Digital podcasts. Thanks for joining us, guys. And we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thanks all.